Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be covering the next video in the series of guides, and today we're going to be going over the Ranger class. Today we are going to be joined by guest CQB on the server. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on? As Jay said, I'm CQB. Yeah, I've been a ranger off and on since 2011. Mostly, actually, I've been a spear ranger pretty much up until like this past year. Um, yeah, it's a little bit about me.
It's great to have you on, and as always we're joined by our co-host Lovely Ninja.
What up?
Okay. And just to give quick credits too for our good friend Hollowed for also supplying a lot of good information to help with today's guide.
It doesn't. It's okay. It doesn't matter. He's British, so
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July to him.
American gang all day.
Okay. So starting off today, what are a lot of the strengths and weaknesses of the Ranger?
Yeah, a lot of both actually. So I guess the strength is you ever like watch those old Geico commercials where they're like so easy a caveman could do it?
Yes.
That's basically it. Like I'm pretty much a fucking caveman and I do all right at it. So it doesn't take much. Like it's pretty chill and relaxed. Uh the strengths are high autos. Uh Yeah, really. Either like even with dex builds, you still get kind of high autos, but strength builds, it's like full auto, whatever. Dex builds have some pretty sweet high hits for their skills. The three that we have to choose from because the rest are garbage. Those are the cons. Our skills suck. Like what's this one? Defensive spikes
Yeah.
maxed out does like 30 damage. Like it's
Oh, jeez.
so a lot of our skills are kind of jokes, but the ones that do work pretty well. And if you can get a good build, you can get some kills. It's a fun class to play.
I can imagine. So what it sounds like is we got a extremely high damage class that is all in on damage as opposed to having some utility that other classes may bring.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and so Love, how exactly would you say the Ranger goes about dealing its damage?
Pretty much auto attacks and its two skills, sharp shot and double shot. Other than that, it doesn't really have much room to put any more damage in.
Okay. And as
Mhm.
a martial class that uses one of the physical types of damage, this means that we're primarily going to want to focus on our strength and or dexterity to increase our to maximize damage and all of that. How difficult would you say this class is from Lixing to endgame, pulling off raid bosses, and so on?
I would say if you're elixing from level 1 all the way to 180 or 190, I would say it's like medium difficulty. You gotta deal with gear and like looking to find that. Once you get from 190 to 220, it starts to get a little bit hard because in tower, the mobs are there. They're wizards, so once they put on Cloak of Fire, you're pretty much done for.
Ah,
You
Yeah,
can't auto.
yeah. All those, because yeah, all the autos that we do, that's most of our damage. Click of fire will melt you. Watch out for those.
oh yeah, and as a rogue main, I can attest to the amount of restos I've had to chug fighting off mages in the tower.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And we had multiple skills. Imagine just using two.
Oh yeah. Now, for rangers, do you prefer running it with the auto attack setting on or off?
I personally hate auto attack. I like to. I mean, I pretty much. I'm pretty bare bones for like my settings. Like I turn off. I filter other players. Turn general off, but auto attack, yeah, I'm not a fan.
And Love, how are your opinions on this highly controversial setting?
I would always turn it off, no matter what the class.
Dang. So I'm over here in the camp where I like to have it on, because of my reasoning is I try to do. Oh, this isn't a term I've heard very often in the Celtic Heroes community, but in other games, there's a mechanic called spell weaving, in which basically you try to cast all of your abilities in between each auto attack. So you want to keep a rhythm of autoing consistently, and every time
Yeah,
you cancel an
yeah,
auto, you want that's like wasted DPS. And so
Yeah.
here on the wolf, as I can show you with it on, it's auto attack, sharp shot in between without canceling an auto, go into rapid shot, and then right into double shot right after an auto attack. And even though you do lose the auto attack, it still gets factored into the damage calculation of it. I do
yeah. I see
understand.
what you're saying.
I do understand that it's annoying because a lot of bosses have mechanics where you don't want to auto them, and so it's very helpful to just turn around.
Hmm.
But that's definitely something I feel players, do what you're comfortable with.
Yeah,
Um,
certainly. Like if you can get the timing down like that, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah. So definitely for newer players, if you're looking to maximize your damage, it's really good to practice with that, and then eventually you can even get good enough where you play with auto attack on, and you still don't waste an auto. So, as a ranger, what are the primary stats that we want to be focusing on getting high up, and throughout like the early game, mid game, and into even end game bossing, and how do those stats change over time?
I would say for early game and mid game, you want to balance out a 3-2 or even a half-half dex to strength ratio. Sometimes I say half-half because there are cases where you need a little bit more damage and you can sacrifice attack for it. But you
Yeah.
always need enough HP for survival. And then in the end game, like once you're 220, max out strength.
I agree.
Unless you're going for a dex build, which I do not know the
Yes,
circumstances.
the godforsaken forbidden build. Yeah.
What exactly is the use of a dexterity ranger build? Because I'm not entirely sure of that myself.
It's mainly just for the skills, so stuff like long shot, sharp shot, sometimes even bard shot. They tend to only use dexterity for crits,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and then you see that one or two people in the server that actually unironically use the full dex build for bossing.
I've seen it pretty cool though. Like that one dude, he's got two cooldown braces. It's just like it seems like a chill class where you just hit a couple skills. Like he has a cooldown brace for long shot and sharp shot, and then all his rings are like gelly rings to boost that skill damage. And so he just sits back and spams those. Like that's pretty cool. But that's not so much my style. I prefer to just put all my points into strength.
And for anyone wondering, in the video now, we will be covering abilities like long shot a little bit further into the video as we go. Now, there's one great resource out on the web for all of you ranger mains out there who are aspiring to deal lots of damage, and it is the 3 damage guides on the Celtic Heroes forum page, which I will link in the description for this. But the basics of that whole post is about how to deal a lot of damage. And primarily, when you're looking to increase your damage as a DPS class, you want to start out by attacking a lot and then focusing on making those attacks hit, and then focusing on the amount of damage that you deal with each attack. And so why is it that we want to prioritize that order of increasing our damage?
I think Love's got that one. He knows a lot more about that than I do.
I kind of forgot what you just said there. I have kind of bad short-term memory.
So basically,
Jake, give
when
it to
you're
us in like 5-word intervals,
yeah, fair enough.
and you're good.
So
You get a pen
when you're
and
looking
write
to
it
deal
down real quick.
damage, you want to first maximize the amount of times you hit the boss, and then you want to make sure that those attacks hit often, and then you
Yeah.
want to make those instances of damage hit for more. And why is it that we want to focus on that order of progression in our build?
In that
like
order,
Yeah,
in that
I
order,
like that.
because attack, the higher the number, the more chances you get to hit the boss. That is the defining factor of how much DPS you can do. Once you can get that number consistently up high and still improve on your damage through gear, that's going to bring you a long way. But if you're just focusing on damage and not enough attack, you're only going to hit it once in a while for a decent number, and that's it. So attack always comes first.
Because remember, every second that you do not hit an attack, you are doing 0 DPS. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
exactly.
how much
Exactly.
you are going to hit for. If you do not hit the boss, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
And
That's Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted
Okay.
you.
And that's why, but also another thing why we always prioritize hitting the boss often over consistent hits is because skills are calculated based off of your class specific ability and not just your attack. And bosses are like less resistant to that, to skill hits than basic autos. That. So with
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And if I could add, the strength build that I'm a fan of, we were talking about earlier, that's a con, so if you focus all on strength gear and things like that, your attack's not going to be that great. Like, I'm at 10k right now, but it's still pretty low for end game. So, to compensate for that, I just try to run some attack elixes, That way you have that high damage and you're still hitting a lot of them.
Yeah, and just like kind of like rogues, that's why you see attack-based gear or gear that gives attack is always so expensive and highly sought after, like Oblivion
Oh,
rings
yeah.
and prop braces, and the Cruel Barbs braces. I think they are too.
Yeah, that's what I've got. The shitty ones might be, but I'm working on some better ones.
Yep.
So with how the calculations work, with dexterity always increasing attack, so every 1 point of dexterity you put into your class gives you 1 point of attack. Strength works kind of similar, but it eventually plateaus out with diminishing returns the more you level it up. So dexterity though does also technically plateau, but it's not like directly in the stats. It's more, it gets plateaued in the calculation against bosses, with the attack versus defense. I won't get into the exact calculations, but they will be described more in depth in the guide I'll be linking in the bottom. But how do we go about balancing the two, and when we are looking to build our character?
That is a little tricky.
It's a good question. I would say it depends on if you're wixing it, like getting to T20, or if you're already there. Wixing really, like Love said, just find whatever, honestly, really just find whatever mix you're happy with. And you really don't just get enough health to survive and put the rest into strength and dex. Just play around with it a couple times. And, you'll find something smooth that you enjoy.
Absolutely.
But end game, yeah, it really kind of depends on the gear that you're going for.
Now, with me personally, with my builds, I like, when it comes to specific endgame bosses, there are almost like these attack thresholds I like to hit. Usually rises up by 2k every tier. So like with Prung, you're going to want to hit roughly 4k. With Mord, you're looking at 6. Proteus 8, Gelly 10, and Bloodthorn 12k attack. And those something like that. Nice simple system that will do you really solid. Those aren't bad numbers to hit at those bosses, but it really, I do think, comes down to preference on how much you want to sacrifice to each area.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to put it. I agree.
Yeah, and if you definitely want to increase your damage as a ranger, invest in cooking and make bars. They are broken.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's like my biggest advice. Really, is haste at everything, attack licks, and bara. And if you've got decent gear, you'll get some kills.
Do you
Do some
also
good damage.
do you also attack potion at bosses? Because attack
I
elixirs
don't.
and potions stack.
I'm not cool enough for that. I'm not that cool.
I do it a couple of times,
That's-
but that is more of like a platinum item, so I just wait for the monthlies.
It makes
Yeah,
it easier to AFK at bosses.
Yeah.
So,
Also, I want to add a con of the class is if you are an AFK ranger, it kind of sucks for them because you pretty much just tell everybody that you've got a micro penis. So
Mm-hmm.
do not AFK ranger. That's lame.
it's the AFK
Yeah.
class.
It certainly is. Like, you can cook, eat, and clean a meal, and still play. But some people still find a way to just let it sit. And
There are some cases where you don't want to AFK though, for instance, like Bloodthorn and Dino.
absolutely, yeah. Like I don't support AFKing, but I'm not gonna say I haven't done it. I've certainly fallen asleep before, so it's the AFK class. But don't be a loser. So.
So I would like to do a quick rundown of each of the skills and the use that they bring to the class and when they might be used. So let's try to quickly get through this, especially since last video we spent a little too long on it. So we'll try to speed it up. So starting off, we have Barb Shot as the first ability.
Useless.
Next.
Okay. Yeah, it's not
Oh,
that great. It's one of the slower DOTs, and it has a cast time, which sucks.
Yeah,
Uh,
not much of a fan.
Next up is Bolus.
Useful for when you're trying to solo stuff that have a lot of HP and deal a lot of damage to you. So mainly EDLs, DLs, like 5 stars, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm at Prot right now. I don't have Bolus, but other ones do. If for some reason, I know most servers don't have this problem, but if for some reason Prot would rage, it's great for that.
Definitely. In smaller clans, it is
Yeah,
one of those
for raging.
abilities where it will save an entire raid if need be. But in a highly
it's a lot of
organized group, it's not too
A
necessary.
lot of fun in PvP as well,
So we move on to Camouflage.
Useful for trying to get to specific places. So like if you're trying to get to Gelebron or Prot, you can cast that on every single person that passes by you and they will thank you.
Yeah, I use ammo.
Don't mind my
'Cause-
dog barking in the background, by the
Oh,
way.
you're good. I use ammo. I think it's great. It's good for doing dailies, getting to bosses and stuff. Because end game, you do have very low health. So camo gets a vote from me.
Mm-hmm.
I've always used the staffs that give you 50% camo naturally.
Oh
or
yeah.
100% move speed. So I don't find this skill too useful, but I can kind of see it.
The reason that I don't so much enjoy doing that is because I don't like getting somewhere and then not having my quiver skill and my mount skill, because that's a big portion of my DPS as well. Like just from my wolf.
I mean,
you know what I mean. So
with how long it takes seed to set up, it's usually available.
yeah. I'm talking like dailies or like, I don't know, just jacking around, killing gold bosses or something.
So up next we have Conceal.
You don't really need it.
Yeah, figure dog shit ability. Next we have the meme of all abilities in this game, Defensive Spikes.
Best skill in the game by far.
I actually
It's
do.
like
Uh,
those times 1,000, but
Okay.
not really.
I have a little
if there was
visual.
ever a definition of a skill you never use, that's a skill you should drop like instantly.
It,
Like,
it's
get that out of the
a
game.
meme skill.
I
They
have
Please
wanted to
get
make
that out.
fun of us.
I've seen some people use this ironically, but never like actually mean to use it because it's good.
The only reason you need to use it is to get you another buff on your icon bar. That's it.
It's another
For when
flex
you're
Yeah.
trying to max it out.
It and it stinks because it has like the coolest animation. I think it looks pretty cool when you cast it. Like, oh, that's sick, but it freaking sucks.
Yeah.
Next up we have double shot.
One of the most useful skills for the ranger.
I would say that's a must for just about everybody.
Yeah.
And for anyone who is
Any
watching,
level, any gear, yeah.
this is the double attack equivalent. It is, but it's for bows specifically. Next up we have entangle.
Not really that useful for Lixing or mid game, but once you hit end game, I recommend pretty much either half or all the rangers run it because it really does help out tanks.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good ability. I don't have it on my ranger because mine is a full locker DPS build.
Yeah.
Next we have explosive arrow.
Useless.
Nope.
Yeah.
Another meme skill.
It takes too long to cast. It's easily canceled because of that. Extremely high energy cost and does no damage.
Mhm.
So yeah, pretty useless. Light heal.
I see some rangers running that in case they get hit from like
Yeah.
one skill. It's a decent heal.
Yeah, my heal is at 77 for that ability, but my ability isn't quite maxed. But yeah, I have 29 levels in it. Not that bad.
I would say it's more of like a point dump.
Yeah.
Yeah, put your extras in it.
Yeah, like at Mord, if I'm ever like hit by that AoE, bullshit AoE that he has, it's like, I'm just gonna let you heal, be fine, keep on
I would-
trucking.
I would say since rangers aren't usually, I guess if we're talking end game, you're not usually taking aggro. So if you can afford it, get sigils.
Mm.
You know, because it's not going to hurt much if you stop for 5-6 seconds. You know, get your health and energy back. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're leveling, you know, light heal's a good option.
Yeah. Sigils, though, are something I definitely recommend that everyone tries to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then we have long shot.
Decent for Lixing. So if you're out of range from a person's aggro, and you're the one hitting him first, it's good to pin him with that skill. It's a very high damage skill, and then you can cast sharp shot, double shot, and you can even do rapid shot.
Yeah.
Pretty much tank about at least a third of that mob's HP without even getting hit once.
The skill...
Only really good for Lixing.
I mean, I've seen this skill also be used to pull out bosses from large groups of ads.
Yeah.
But then again,
Yes,
that
I
works
mean-
at level 1 too. You can just have it level 1 and fulfill that role.
Like if you can get some good long shot gear, it's pretty awesome. But to be fair, I haven't used that skill in like 7 years or whatever. Like I haven't used it since it came out, pretty much.
I would recommend, though, also this skill only be used in a dexterity-based build, as the casting time on it is not worth it if you're in an auto-attack, strength-heavy build.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Rapid Shot.
If you're not hasted,
Oh, yeah.
if you aren't hasted, it's one of the most useful skills because you can go from auto attacking like this, you know, kind of slow.
Yep.
There's another hit, and then you can just go freaking balls to the wall and just start spamming.
Yeah. It just gives you a
Yeah,
nice
true.
opportunity, especially if you're running something like a Reaper Ring, or your like Dragon Lord offhand. Just save those for when you Rapid Shot. It will
Yeah,
send
that
your
is-
damage
that is-
through the roof.
I put my extra throwaway points into rapid shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I actually have
I
mine
like that.
maxed.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, it's nice getting
What
like
I
a
s-
30-second.
What is
What
it
I
like?
say-
30 seconds?
32.5 seconds on that.
Wow. Yeah. And if you can get a cooldown ring, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, what I would say about that is if you can max out your rapid shot, I don't know how much seconds it gives when it's maxed out.
It is
but if you can get a
32.5.
32.5.
Yeah,
Okay,
mine
so
is
if you got a godly rapid shot ring from Bloodthorn, which is 40% cooldown, you're pretty much permanently hasted.
Yeah. Think of all the money you could save with that.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
really good ability. Next we have Sharp Shot.
Oh yeah.
It is a spell weaving skill. It's good enough to use if you're an auto build. So like, if I can do, let me buff myself real quick. So if I auto right now,
Yep.
it'll do 2200, like maybe 2500, 2700, and then sharp shot. That right there. Well, I don't really have a Gelly ring, but once you get Gelly ring, Bloodthorn gear, all that, it's worth running. It's a spell weaving skill.
Yeah.
Kind of like quick strike for rogues. Just a way to get extra damage in there.
Absolutely. Even in a full strength build, it's really good.
I use it because it has no cast time, you know.
Yeah.
Low mana
It's just
cost
extra
too.
damage how I look at it. Yeah.
And then we'll cover these last two together: sharpened weapons and steady aim.
Oh fuck
very,
yeah.
very useful.
They're a must
Extremely
for
useful.
everybody.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you're doing, they're a must.
During end game, steady aim and sharpened weapons are just like steady aim gives you attack and damage, and then sharpened weapons is just even more damage on top of that.
Like my sharpened weapons adds 200 damage.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
During
over
raids
a
on
group
my
of
road.
8 people.
Yeah, like sometimes
Mhm.
at Gelly or Bloodthorn, I just place my rogue next to CQB and I just say sharpen weapons, please, and he just gives it to me, and it's just like done.
Yeah, done deal. So, what are your stat distributions that you guys are all running on your characters?
You go ahead, Love.
I'm going a lot of strength, so total I have 835 strength and 235 dex in terms of points in it. I have 525 strength and 175 dex. The dex is just like a small boost to attack and a little bit to the sharp shot because I feel like it doesn't really do enough. Other than that, it's also for steady aim and sharpened weapons, so it's more or less just like a minor boost to other skills.
And CQB, what is your stat distribution that you're looking at?
So mine's pretty easy. I I just put everything into strength. So right now I'm not quite to the plateau. I think is around 3,000 if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
But I'm at 2,680 strength. Then I have 1680 dex, 450 focus, which that kind of sucks, but it's not bad. 780 vitality. So that puts me at, when I'm buffed, I'll get about, I have a Elixir bar on right now, but when I'm buffed, I'll get around 10k attack, 6.2k damage, and then I have good health, actually, like 7,000 right now.
It's plenty.
Yeah.
So, I think
Kelly,
my build is a
way to
little bit
kill it.
different than for you guys, as I'm sitting at 455 strength, 1,000 dexterity, and 110 and focus, and 150 vit. As I'm going more of a dexterity build on my locker to really increase that sharpened weapons. And while then again, I have a Mord locker here who is running a Sun Helm, a Reaper ring, and a Garanak set. So my gear is
That's actually a great build. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only thing I would switch on your build would be either the Trailblazer or the Trailblazer and the Reaper just for Oblivions, and the helmet for Shadow Moon like I got, but those are just really minor things to switch.
I can't.
Oh yeah, let me just
to moon.
Let me just pull the shadow moon out of my ass, you know.
Oh, yeah.
No, let me just whip one out real quick.
Yeah.
The only shadow moon on Crom Flex.
Same with, the good old Oblivion Ranger rings on Crom.
Yeah. Oh man, they're so hard to get. Like, I don't have BT rings. I mean, if we get to gear, that's what I recommend. But Oblivion, that's a good second option.
Yeah.
It's either runic rings for when you're above 200, or if you're in a clan that kills endgame and mid-game bosses. Oblivions are almost the cream of the crop.
So
Because they add the strength as well. I like
yeah.
that.
And the bow ability.
yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the I'm sure we'll get to it probably if you had it planned later on. But yeah, you really want to get as much bow ability as you can, especially for
Absolutely.
these auto builds.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was cool.
Because
25K.
doesn't increasing your bow ability also just add to your damage as well as your attack?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it adds to both stats. With the it doesn't add directly to your damage in the calculation, but your weapon ability is part of your attack damage calculation when you make to a boss. So factors into all of your skill hits as well that are weapon based at least.
Also, it's just nice seeing that damage number go up, even if it doesn't do that much.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And this rolls really nicely into what the kind of gear that we want to be looking for and prioritizing as endgame players at raids.
So, I would say if you're around 190 to 210, Oblivion rings, Garanak sets, Mord helms, Necro bows, like stuff like that. Once you start getting 210 to 220, you can start getting Gelly braces instead of Prung braces and Bloodthorn Misk. Some people run Bloodthorn Ami like CQB here for the strength and for the vit and attack. But I would say if you can spare your health being a little bit lower, run the Runic Ami of Valor, the 240 heat damage one, because that's the better option for just complete damage output.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
People
And if
really
you have
I enjoy the
underestimate.
health.
People really underestimate the Runic Ami and just the amount of raw damage it gives.
Yeah. And I would say if you have access to it, if you're able to swap your Oblivion rings, go for either of the Bloodthorn Precision or Brutality rings. The only reason I say Precision is a little better, it boosts your Sharp Shot a ton. Even if it's Dex.
So, tying into this, I do want to talk a little bit then about Morty helms, as we skipped over those due to a lack of time in the last guide we had. But one of the biggest times though when I was playing this game was when I got my first Mord helm. It was like this great feeling of, oh my god, I finally got one. But I definitely think that these are a piece of equipment that is put up on a pedestal and aren't always as good as people think they are.
That depends on which variant or which helmet you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like, some people, when they get a Dark Duelist helm or, like, a Dark Victory, it's a good buff with stats and, like, a good increase in health and stuff like that. But for damage, I would say the best damage helmets are the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun.
Yeah. A lot of people I've seen, they will get a Morty helm just because of the reputation of Mord helms. And
Yeah.
while a Mord helm in the right build could be your best piece of equipment, there are a lot of Mord helms out there where just running your standard Dragon Lord or Exalted Dragon Lord helmet would be better. Because people do not realize that those give you skill points, health, energy, higher armor values, and heat damage as well as the other stats.
Resists.
Exactly.
Resists too are huge.
Yeah, even the resist chaos is huge.
Oh yeah. So all you aspiring ranger players out there, or DPSs in general, do not sweat over getting a Mord helm necessarily, because your Dragonlord or Exalted Dragonlord helmet will be 80% as good, if not better. There,
It also really just depends on which helmet you're picking.
yeah. And so
Also, starter gear that I just put on. That's the way to go.
nub gear,
Mhm.
yeah. So, what are the best kinds of pets and mounts for the Ranger?
The
Mm,
mounts mainly between horse and wolf. I see people go wolf because of the pierce damage. I see people go horse because the strength and the dex instead of the dex and the focus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since our clan doesn't use crush lore, the horse is a little bit less useful than the wolf. But if we do use crush lore, then a horse all the way.
Yep.
And for pets, you can do wolf, chicken, spider, basic damage, or just dex and strength pets. There's
Dragon and
yeah,
imp
don't sleep
too.
on
For
don't
those
sleep
people.
on the chicken.
yeah, don't sleep on the chicken, dude. That gives you a lot of heals per tick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for all the richer players, imp and dragon are really good.
hmm
Absolutely.
Imp
Oh.
is probably the best DPS pet right now.
Oh yeah, imps are by far the best right now, and they're kind of busted. So, upon seeing the amount of different gear that we've been able to cover and the difference in all of our builds that we have going on, one thing I'd like to really drive home, finishing off this guide, is that a lot of the Ranger build is, unlike other classes, this build or class is not solved in any way. It is very preferential in what abilities you like to run, how you want to split your stats. It's kind of just like do what you feel is best, and it will work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Especially when you're AFK half the time. It's not even like you're going to top the damage charts anyway.
Yeah, don't forget dodge goal for a ranger.
Dodge Skull is overpowered, most definitely.
Mhm.
CQB has
I
a
also
few pieces here.
I also
And-
forgot mentioning Bloodthorn helmets. Always go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those are a bit out of most people's grasp to get. And, well, I think that would wrap things up for today.
Yep.
We'll be coming back next week with our next video. And everyone, just have a good day. Bye.
Later.